Hello viewers, many thanks for joining us. Arise television anchor el-rufai Oseni has publicly responded to presidential spokesman Bwala, insisting that he has no personal grudge against him, but will continue to question his past and present political positions. Rufai's message followed a growing dispute over Bwala's criticism of the media and his suggestion that some journalists were motivated by hatred rather than professional scrutiny.
Because what he found when he came was built to send him back. It was not designed for him to govern Nigeria. There was practically nothing. So the economy was not just nosediving, but to the abyss. What he has done so far is to pilot to change the direction of the economy. So that situation that we consider as critical and life-threatening has been dealt with. We are facing what we call recovery. In the area of security, I would make the case that we've gone even beyond that. Because what we have now is absolute charge of every territory of Nigeria. Forget what the media sometimes publish or what the opposition sometimes say.
The television anchor rejected that accusation, arguing that asking public officials to explain contradictions in their statements is a basic responsibility of the press. In a post shared on his verified X account, Rufai addressed Bwala directly and described him as a brother despite their disagreement. He stressed that their relationship did not remove the need for accountability, particularly now that Bwala serves as a spokesman for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Rufai said he would continue to challenge him whenever his current statements appear inconsistent with positions he previously defended before joining the administration. The exchange has attracted attention because Bwala was once a prominent critic of the APC and President Tinubu. Before becoming a presidential spokesman, he frequently appeared on television programs where he criticized the ruling party, defended opposition figures, and questioned several government policies.
Because the man who is running now for APC does not even know half of what Buhari knows about government or national security. If you have the time, I will tell you more about what they are campaigning with as an agenda or as a rhetoric that he did well in Lagos. I will tell you, between 1999 to 2007, if you take out context, he actually performed worse than some governors in Nigeria, because the Lagos that they say he did, he improved the revenue, he only collected tax. All the infrastructure needed for a state or in fact a country to develop was on ground. Lagos used to be the Nigerian national capital.
His transition from opposition advocate to government spokesperson has therefore made his previous statement an important part of current political debate. Rufai reminded Bwala that he once defended his confrontational interviewing style and described him as a formidable journalist. According to the anchor, Bwala had previously welcomed the same level of scrutiny when it was directed at the APC government. Rufai suggested that it was inconsistent for him to now describe similar questioning as hatred simply because he had become part of the administration. The disagreement raises an important question about political accountability in Nigeria. Should public figures be allowed to abandon strongly expressed positions without explaining why they changed their minds? Political evolution is not necessarily dishonest because individuals can reconsider their views after receiving additional information or entering new circumstances. However, when a public figure moves from aggressively criticizing a government to defending that same government, citizens are entitled to ask what changed and whether earlier statements are still valid. Rufai referred to an earlier interview in which Bwala reportedly used Arise Television's platform to criticize Peter Obi and challenged the former Anambra State governor's reputation for frugality. During that interview, Bwala allegedly described seeing Obi inside a shop and used the incident as part of a broader political argument. Rufai questioned whether viewers should still believe the statements Bwala made during that period, especially now that his political alignment has changed. This is not merely about one television interview. Bwala made several public statements before joining the Tinubu administration, many of them strongly critical of the APC and its leadership. Those comments remain available through television recordings, newspaper reports, and social media posts. Rufai's position is that journalists have a duty to compare those earlier declarations with Bwala's current defense of the government and ask him to explain any apparent contradictions. Bwala, however, may argue that political opinions can change and that his current role reflects a legitimate assessment of President Tinubu's administration. Supporters of the presidential spokesman could also say that repeatedly confronting him with old statements prevents serious discussion of present government policies. They may believe that some media interviews focus more on political confrontation than on providing citizens with useful information. Yet, accepting that people can change their views does not eliminate the need for explanation. A public official who once condemned a policy but later support it should be able to clearly state what evidence, experience, or political development caused the change. Without such an explanation, the public may reasonably suspect that the shift was driven by personal opportunity rather than conviction. Rufai's comments also highlight the increasingly tense relationship between Nigerian political officials and the media. Government representatives sometimes accuse journalists of bias, hostility, or sensationalism when interviews become difficult. Journalists, in response, argue that public officials must expect tough questions because they speak on behalf of leaders whose decisions affect millions of people. A healthy democracy requires both responsible journalism and fair treatment of public officials. Interviewers should avoid personal attacks, unsupported accusations, and unnecessary hostility. At the same time, presidential spokesmen should not dismiss legitimate questions as hatred simply because those questions are uncomfortable. Accountability works only when officials are willing to answer directly and journalists are prepared to examine their responses carefully. Rufai made it clear that his challenge to Bwala was not motivated by personal resentment. He said the media did not hate the presidential spokesman, but was simply holding him accountable. That distinction is important because criticism of a public official's statement is not the same as attacking the individual. Once someone accepts a senior government communication role, every measure, claim, defense, and contradiction becomes a legitimate matter of public interest. The controversy also reflects a wider problem in Nigerian politics, where politicians frequently cross party lines and later defend positions they once attacked. Such defections are often announced without detailed explanations, leaving citizens uncertain about whether ideology, policy disagreements, or personal ambition motivated the change. When journalists revisit earlier statements, they help preserve political memory and make it more difficult for public figures to rewrite their own records. Daniel Bwala now has an opportunity to respond directly to Rufai's challenge. He can explain whether he still believes the comments he made before joining the Tinubu administration and identify the reasons behind any positions he had abandoned. A detailed response could reduce the controversy and help the public understand his political transformation. Avoiding the questions or attacking the journalists, asking them, could deepen suspicions about inconsistency. The confrontation between Rufai Oseni and Daniel Bwala is therefore larger than a personal disagreement between a broadcaster and a presidential spokesman. It is a test of whether political figures can be questioned about their public history without treating scrutiny as hostility. Nigerians deserve officials who can explain their decisions, journalists who ask evidence-based questions, and a political culture where changing one's opinion requires more than simply forgetting what they previously said. For more updates, stay with us on News Express. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Many thanks for watching.